All right, well, good morning. For the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and get started because we do have a packed agenda for you. I'm really just going to kick it off this morning and turn it over. I've got a couple of folks who are going to start, both representing CPS. In our last meeting, one of the things I asked was ed folks be with you, those who are responsible for pre-IT specifically, because they are going to do a presentation and helping you understand the movement from paper to online for scoring. So Peter's going to go over that in just a minute. Directly after him, Toy's going to talk to you about a second topic related to CPS, and that has to do with monitoring. And so we're going to start with both of those presentations. So I invite Peter to come up.
Good morning. Happy first day of spring, right? Very Chicago. My name is Peter Leonard. I'm the Executive Director of Assessment and MTSS for Chicago Public Schools. I've been with the district for 11 years. I've been in this space with you all before, though it's been a few years. So it's great to be with our partners today. I'm coming to just give you a quick overview of some of the planned transition to digital scoring for the pre-IPT English language screener for our 3 and 4-year-olds. So we're planning to make this transition again to a digital capture of scoring for next year. And so we're quickly just going to walk through clarifying what does this mean, what's new, what stays the same, what do we think are the added benefits this is going to give to educators and those who are serving our students, things that we are considering and that are relevant for our partners to be considering as a part of this transition. And then we'll look at the general timeline and the support that's in place. And then we want to turn it over and hear the questions or feedback you have so that we can make sure we are partnering best in this transition to serve you and our students. Okay, so the big thing to highlight here is that the change is how the data is captured, not what the student experience of the screener is. So this digital piece is not that the student is going to be interacting with a device or interacting digitally. It is just that where the scoring is being captured during the pre-IPT administration is being captured on a device. So we see no interactions with what that experience is on what's being measured, the types of results we get, and the interactions. What's changing is where and how we are scoring and capturing those results. Go to the next slide. So some of the things we're excited about and the benefits for the planned transition, everyone's going to get access to digital resources, a digital manual. It'll be built into the system of when's the appropriate time to stop or pause during the assessment. You'll get automated scoring, and those types of reports that come from the scoring will be available to you in serving those students. And it'll come with complimentary online accounts in the system, as well as the ability to automatically generate parent letters in English and Spanish. So as you finish the screening, you'll have immediate access to those detailed reports, and you'll be able to create resources that can be shared with families so that they understand where their students are. Some of the things to think about are going to be important as we make this transition, because scoring is going to happen on a device. The users will need to have access to a reliable internet connection. Though we do know if a connection drops, you re-engage, you want to restart from where you left off. Teams need to have devices available, right, for scoring during testing. And then, as I said, people are going to get accounts into the pre-IPT site. Those accounts need to come from an official or like an organizational email address and not someone's personal Gmail or Yahoo account. All right, so here's how we're thinking about the timeline. Currently, you'll notice there are not specific dates for these portions. Those are things that we want to collaborate to make sure when we're providing training and other things that it fits into the general calendar and schedule that exists in partnering with you all. So you can see that timeline starting in June. We want to be able to give people access to a trial version of the platform to get you in and familiar with it before you'd be doing any actual screening with pre-IPT for students. We'd start providing training opportunities in June as well. Kind of similar in July as you start to gain more familiarity. And then in August is when we'll be assigning those credits to schools, or you'll have the ability to begin that data capture in pre-IPT screening. As you can see across the way, we will include varied levels of support, both kind of synchronous with the district as well as the vendor partner, as well as resources that are loaded that you'll be able to access in an ongoing way. Those additional credits will be released to the district, and then there's the option for schools or partners. As we said, the screening that we are providing is through the pre-IPT, right, as in the English screener. We know there is the Spanish pre-IPT that they've heard expressed an interest. There's the possibility for partners to purchase credits from Ballard and Tag, but that's not something that is provided by the district as a part of this. So here you can see the types of things you'll have available to you in terms of trainings and direct support, office hours, call lines, etc. Just something that you'd be able to reference as we move forward. So I know I moved pretty quickly through that. I know you have a jam-packed agenda, but I'd love to hold time just a couple minutes if possible to hear what's coming up for you. If there's any kind of pressing questions that you want to ask, or if there's important planning considerations or feedback for us. Hey, make sure to provide this, or one of the things that will really be important for us is why. So any of that feedback or questions, you can go to the next slide. Thanks. We'd welcome that opportunity now. Yes, ma'am.
One more.
That's correct. The question was, the screening tool is the same. Yep, the screening tool is the same. The experience for the student and the things they're asked to do is the same. The difference is for the examiner, instead of documenting something on paper, they are documenting and scoring those things directly in the device. Which is why the importance around the connectivity, around device access, and then a lot of those benefits around immediate reports, parent letters, et cetera. Yes, ma'am. So the question is, will trainings that have been available to educators previously still be available to them? Yes. Yeah, all of that training to support the administration will still be in place. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, great question. Will the devices be provided? No, the devices won't be provided. The organization will be providing that device. So you'd use, maybe it might be an iPad, or it might be another part of the training will be what the devices are that can be used for it, as well as any of the tech updates that need to be applied to make sure it's in the right operating system. It has the right software installed. And so we'll be definitely covering that as we roll out the training. We can also provide that in terms of FAQs and resources, and if there are questions that come up from that. But yeah, attending to ensuring that you have the right technology and updating in the right ways. And then it's around in planning how and when you're going to administer that, you're allocating some of those devices, whether they be Chromebooks or tablets, to the educator who's administering a screener. You're welcome.
No other questions?
Thank you for welcoming me this morning. It was great to be with y'all.
So don't leave Peter, something else is gonna come up. So one thing I did walk over, and I did talk to Ken, because one of the things that I know that from CARES and other things, is some of you are in fact using Gmail accounts and other accounts. And so we are going to have to work with some of you on just that, to make sure that you have the access that you need, so that you're able to get online and do this work. So we have Ken McGee over in the corner. He and I are going to work on it, and we're going to do some workarounds to make sure you have what you need. When it comes to devices, I don't know I'm not going to pretend that I know what's in everybody's house. I know some of you have bought them. Some of you bought them a while ago. And so to Peter's point, maybe the technology that you have may need an upgrade as far as what's on the system. And so they'll be able to work with you and identify some of that to make sure that you're able to get on and actually do the screening, do the scoring, et cetera. But if there's questions that come up, we're going to make sure that we're sharing the slides. And so if we capture more questions, we'll be sending those over to Peter. But we'll definitely continue to talk to you about that. And I know when I saw the slides previously, I did get in touch with Peter because I know he's doing a planned training or trainings in August. And I know many of you also plan your pre-services. And so we'll be trying to work on dates so that things don't conflict so that you're able to do both. Okay? Any other questions around that? All right, Toy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Toykesia Tigwell Toy. I'm the Grant Fiscal Monitoring Manager with the Office of Early Childhood Education. Okay. Today I'm here to briefly introduce everyone's favorite subject, monitoring. So our new monitoring framework for PFA or Preschool for All in Prevention Initiative program. So what is our new framework? So this new framework represents an enhanced monitoring process conducted through coordinated site visits and desk audits for PFA and PDI programs that are funded by the Early Childhood Block Grant. Implementation will be led by the CPS Office of Early Childhood Fiscal Monitoring Team in collaboration with DFSS. And our objectives are twofold. One is alignment of standards across CPS, DFSS, and state grant regulations. And two, ensuring effective stewardship of grant funds. The execution of this plan will commence in the summer of 2025 with a prioritized subset of agencies. So the impact and support. So our approach to this work is going to be supportive and collaborative with the goal of assisting organizations in achieving success rather than solely focusing on compliance monitoring. So our framework is designed to enhance transparency in the management of grant funds, provide ongoing proactive support to bolster your organization's financial health, collaborate with DFSS on capacity building and technical assistance provided to agencies, and offer dedicated points of contact with regular office hours for immediate assistance following CPS-led monitoring visits. So we're reviewing this collaborative effort to ensure your program's continued success while adhering to compliance requirements set forth by ISB. So that is my time, very brief. If you have any questions, my contact information is here. You can email me or oece@cps.edu. And as Rachel said, this slide will be shared or the deck will be shared if you all have any questions. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Rachel.
I know you guys are all excited about being monitored, right? Come on, people. Thank you. Yes, 1 second. Is this regarding something for Toy? All right.
Yes, we will provide formal communication through announcement letters, the same as you all get with the FSS.
One second. First question was, will there be notification?
For monitoring the on-site, virtual.
They will be on site and virtual, so it'll probably start out more likely virtual than on site.
Duration of monitoring.
Well, the monitoring, depending on the level of funding that you have or the I don't want to say difficulty or challenge within the organization, but it is dependent on the size of the organization, more than likely.
Is there, I'm gonna ask, is there a time frame, meaning program year? For example, if you're doing federal review, is the current year or the previous year? So
Yeah.
will you guys be identifying that?
Yeah, we'll identify that through the announcement letter, but monitoring is usually current year. Yeah. The question was what type of data we will be looking for in the monitoring process. So the announcement letter will have a checklist of items that we will be reviewing, and it will be programmatic as well as financial. So payroll, timesheets, anything to support the budget or any expenditures that you have, payroll or personnel and non-personnel expenses.
1 second.
So she has to be here.
Then I'll come back.
The advanced notification will be anywhere from 30 to 60 days.
Audit or the VFS audits go away?
BFS audits will not go away.
Okay, so we'll have both.
It'll be in collaboration with some DFS audits. There will be DFSS audits that take place, so it will be something in addition to that. Once, going twice. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Toy. So y'all not excited about being monitored again? Oh, you're so used to it. Monitoring is your life, right? It's called data, 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 trust but verify, right? So for those of you who have state funding, welcome to the federal world, right? Because again, one of the things that those who have federal grants, they know they're going to do an FA1, they're going to do an FA2, they're going to do class. All of these things are written into statute. But now what we will be doing is doing more monitoring. As Toy said, there will be virtual and there will be in-person monitoring at your sites, looking at your documents and looking at your data, and working with you on that. Okay. If there are any other questions, one of the things we will be doing is collecting questions. And if there's some for Peter, we'll get them to him. If there's some for Toy, we'll get them to her. So thanks, Toy. All right, I only have a few things on here. Update on poverty guidelines. One of the things we need to make sure, especially for federal grants, if you're looking at income, you've got to be looking at the one that was released in January, I believe, of 2025, to make sure that you're looking at the right income, home income, because you can make a mistake really quickly. We're happy that it's increased a little, a little. We would have liked it to increase a lot more, but it did not, but it did increase a little bit. And so when you're looking at your family size number, you know, and looking at that income, you do need to be using the updated poverty guidelines. I know if they have not gone out in CSD update, they will be going back out in CSD update because everybody needs to be using the updated version of that. A couple of checks and files, we found that the staff had not used the updated one where a parent would have been deemed eligible, but had been deemed not eligible because all it takes is $1. And so we are going to make sure that everybody has the right one. We did have a follow-up review. We had a risk assessment notification. It was regarding incidents in an agency. We did have an ANC or an area of noncompliance and a deficiency related to it. We did have our follow-up review, and as a result of what we were able to provide, answer questions, et cetera, from the federal office, it was deemed corrected. So, you know, it's always good when it's corrected. You know, so I thank my team for their due diligence in doing all of the work to make sure that that happened. We did have the follow-up review on our FA2 because we also had a couple of things within that, both regarding data, regarding health and nutrition, health and dental, excuse me, and also hearing and vision. And so we've had that review and we're waiting on that report as well. And we're hoping and anticipating that those issues would have been corrected as well. So I put on here RFP update. How many of you guys want an update? And I don't have one for you today. We're still working through the process. I wish I had an answer for you today, but I don't. We are working as feverishly as we can. If it were just me and my office doing it alone, I would have loved to have it in your hands, so I would have to stop coming in front of you as a group with the same answer, because I know you're tired of it. But we're putting together information so that we can get it out as soon as possible, okay? So you didn't miss anything. I did have someone say, did I miss it? Absolutely not. We haven't launched it yet, but we are still in the process, okay? Federal update. How's everybody doing in the federal world? Aren't you having fun now? Keeps you up at night, right? Adding a little anxiety to your life. Everybody do me a favor, as I said in the last meeting. Keep your eyes and ears open and understand everything that's going on around you. The one thing I do ask is that you don't just take a source and make that source be true, because everyone isn't true. Everything that's being stated around what's going on isn't true. And we need to be getting the executive orders that are written. They need to be reviewed, and then they are being tested, as you know, in court. But at the end of the day, there's a huge movement in our nation to do things a little bit differently. And it is impacting people at all levels. So I know your staff are going through it, as well as your families and everyone. And so the one thing we have to do is be as mindful as we can about the people around us. I know Frankie, who's my supervisor, keeps asking me, am I okay? And I keep saying, why? Why keep asking me that? I live in America. No, I'm not okay. I'll be okay sometime, but not now. It is a lot going on, people. And it's, what we want you to do is just be mindful. Know that if there's going to be an impact to you on anything, you are going to get that immediately from DFSS. We're not going to withhold any information that's going to impact you. But know that there is a lot going on when they start talking about Medicaid, and when they start talking about Social Security, and when they're talking about all of those things, they impact your families. And so they need to know that you know that they're feeling upset, scared, tired, and feeling in some cases abandoned, because they feel like, what about me? Am I in this? Why are we doing all of these things? We can't control what we can't control. We control what we can. We cannot control what's going on in DC. Everybody hear me? We cannot control what is going on in DC. Our control is after something happens, if it impacts us, for us to get to a table, sit down, go through it, figure it out, plan, and do what we need to do. Project 2025 was written, and it didn't go away. For anybody who thought it was not real, it is. It starts on page 400 and something. 42, and then again, 482. Okay, I was 400 and something. I looked at it too many times. So it's in there, okay? This morning, what did you hear if you listened to the news? Department of Education. Are there any impacts there? Absolutely. When it comes to children with disabilities, funding comes from there. It is true. And when they say that the money for education is already at the states, that is absolutely true. But there's a lot of other pieces of what happens in education that is in the Department of Education. How many of you have students personally in school? How dare I have 3 grandsons in college? And I told them I was ready to retire, but I guess I better not. I might be paying tuition. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this is real. Yes, Pell Grants. Yes, FAFSA, Department of Education. So if not there, then where? And so that's what I'm saying. You need to be listening and understanding. How many of you have employees who are students, who are not on our scholarship, who may be using FAFSA and financial aid? They're nervous. We do know some universities, because they had federal funds, already cut some scholarships. I know that because I've got a daughter who's in a nursing program, and she called and said, They cut my scholarship. I said, okay, that only means you need something from me, but you can't quit. We can't let people fall off the shelf right now. We've got to figure out ways to help. So when you got staff, if they are going through financial aid on their own, you need to tell them, apply for the scholarship. Get their application in. They may be able to get their tuition paid versus worrying about what's going on with that Pell Grant that they were so hoping to get. So we need to make sure that everybody understands what avenues and resources are out there and open to them. But the thing that we all have to do is keep our eyes and ears open and bear witness to what's going on around us and see what that impact is and plan for it. We didn't plan for it before because we had no plan of action for Project 2025. And so now what we have is we're living Project 2025. Okay. Any questions about that? And so I want everyone to take care of yourselves as best you possibly can through this because you're needed. We need you, your families need you, your staff needs you. So we need you to take care of yourself. Rest, do what you got to do, and get up for the good fight the next day. Because this is going to be a fight, and we're going to have to be here doing this. And we need each and every one of you in this room to work with us on this. Again, as we get information, we've got Department of Law and others reading and going through everything and trying to keep up with it and communicating with us as much as they can about anything that is impacting any of you. The one that I will say right now, for those of you who are on our federal grant, and we will be working with you on what language can be in your applications when you submit them back to us. Because there is language that we cannot use. And we will be using other words instead to make sure that your application and our grant applications get accepted. Okay? Yes, Amina? Okay, yes, ma'am. As soon as we could get far enough along in all of this, because I'm having to rewrite and write and based on what I'm getting. So know that we're going to do all of that. And whenever we launch anything, you will know exactly what your guidance is on your response, because we will have already walked through the process to make sure that we figured out what is acceptable and how we need to and how we can say what we say in order to not have things get kicked back. Because the goal is not to have any of the applications that we submit kicked back. Our federal grants are still due September 1. And we're working right now to make sure that we know, and that I was on with Office of Head Start before I came up here. I was down in the basement with them. But we've got to be careful. It's not business as usual. And our job is to do everything we can. And then we will be sending information to you to say what you can and cannot say as you're writing your narrative. Because I've got to help you so you can help me. Her question was regarding those three letters, DEI, me and you is how I see it. Okay. Last time I checked, that would be me. Okay. Yes, we do. Her question is, do you have to work with your vendors to make sure as well? Yes, because again, if you have a vendor and what's written in your vendor's narrative, scope, et cetera, says that they're going to be working with you on diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'm going to have to say you can't do it. Because what's going to happen is that's going to get caught in an audit, and then all funds, not just yours, will be gone. And so that's how we will carefully moderate through this. And so, yes, thanks for raising that. When you're thinking about what's written, look at everything that's written and make sure that it is not going to be captured. Okay. And we will continue to work with you on that. We're putting some language together as we're trying to get ready for what our grant applications will have to be September 1. so that you will have that before you start doing your narratives, because I don't want you to have to do them twice. Does that make sense?
Recipient, meaning FSS, as opposed to making unilateral decisions that may not be aligned with what FSS is telling Office Desk. Number two, in thinking about your boards, knowing what Rachel has said about an RFP, you most likely want to think about starting the conversation of something being a continuation for July 1, because I know a lot of your fiscal years are going to end June 30th. And your board's gonna be asking, what are we gonna be expecting for July 1? Given this time frame where we're in March right now, chances are RFP decisions aren't gonna be made the next 90 days. So just something to think about. Okay.
Thanks, Ken. Yes.
So that's really what I was talking about. We
Mhm.
don't have a decision about it. How do we plan for July 1st?
That's what we're working through, because I believe me, having been on the other side, understanding you need something from me. So I was on a call until 6 o'clock last night on how to articulate this, okay? Because I need to give you something. And so we're working on that message so that you have something, because you need to be able to say to your board and others what's going on, right? You need to be able to capture the right communication, and you need something from us in order to do that. So we're working on that right now. I put together what I said was my best effort, and like I said to her, and it was written on a bad day. And she said, "Oh, I know you. I know what that meant. Yeah, you really want to redo that, because that was all my not good energy." So go give that to someone who can go, "Oh, Rachel did a halfway good job. Let's fix that." And I tell my staff, and Jocelyn's in the back, read this before I send it out, because I just read another executive order, and I don't know if that has the right temper in it right now. But that's where we're living in. But what we want to do is give you enough information so that you can work with your board and others. You can work with your vendors and others. You can work with community agencies, your families, et cetera, about what's going on, and so that you can have the right words in your narrative. But we've got to get it right so we can give it to you, and that's what we're working on. Okay. Anyone else? Yes. Spend it. Number one, because we can't have money out there. I've been saying this for a while. I did ask the question that you did ask of me, and I'm going to say that out loud for everybody. And I'm going to give you credit for it. Why not? I can give myself credit for that. Anyway, so I did receive a question, and the question was, as we're trying to utilize our dollars, can we use, because I know on the federal side, we've said before, you can do retention bonuses, you can do sign-on bonuses, you can do those kinds of things with your federal dollar, but we had not been given any agreement to go ahead and do it on the state side. So we scanned everything, and there's nothing that says we can't do it. But the one thing that holds us up is that it has to be in your HR and personnel policies, which we will have to request if you're doing it. I need a document that says that you have put this into a policy. It just wasn't you woke up and said, let's go do this. I need a document that shows me that within your organization, you will be able to do this. Because if somebody comes up and says, but I didn't get one, I've got to point to something, okay? And so if you have state funding and you're trying to be creative, that is one of the ways. If you've got a staff member who's remained with you, and you want to do a retention bonus that will give them the oomph to stay later and stay more, what I'm saying to you is, yes, I'm going to write an email to you letting you know, and it will tell you exactly what we need my staff to get and what team that information needs to be sent to in order for us to affect it within your budget. Okay. Any other creative ways anybody got?
Hey, I think folks should take a look at that technology inventory, given what was said.
I was about to say that one too. How many of you have
Yeah.
good new technology to do the pre-IPT on? Wow, with no hands going up, I guess you're buying technology based on what was just stated, and I will use what was just stated as your justification on your state grant to buy the technology needed for your pre-IPT and your pre-FA classroom. Okay, I'm sorry, they got it. That's what they're doing right there. That's why I wanted to get the slides, so if there was anything that I needed to have, so I could have language on working with fiscal on the other side, so your budgets don't get held up, because Soweto says you can do this based on what? Right, based on the fact that you have to do pre-IPT online. Okay. Any other creative ideas? Well, my most creative one is spend your money, right? We do know, and I know my team are working with agencies and talking about where you are with your current allocations, trying to help you figure out what you need to do. And I leave it to Angel to have those conversations. I don't join them, so I don't bear witness to what she's telling y'all. But use your money, spend it, yes. I will have to research that one. The question was, can they do team building and wellness? And I need to research and see whether I can do that with the state budget. So we looked through everything, and we did that for the other. Yes, ma'am. I knew somebody was gonna mention that. Yes, reimbursements are really slow. I'm asking you to spend and you ain't even getting paid. How dare I, right? We are behind at the city level. And I just want to remind everyone, that's why we try to ask you to invoice more often or as often as possible. The city's year ends December 31st. That's the entire city of Chicago. So every vendor, every payment, every department, every division, everybody is sending in their final vouchers in that January timeframe. And it's massive. And so it takes a long time for them to get through all of that. Their team is not as big as all of you that's in this room. It's a small team trying to affect this. And so they are in fact behind weeks in trying to get, well, okay, months. The weeks before, in trying to get them all out. If someone needs something expedited, you need to send me an email. That's all I can do at this point, because I know they're still behind, and every time I'm on a call, we're still running behind. And they're doing everything that they can to get them all out. Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions for me before I turn over the mic? Okay. Chicago Department of Public Health, and this is around recruitment and enrollment, right? We're under enrolled on 0 to 3. Chicago Department of Health has what's called Family Connects. Does anybody know what Family Connects is? Got a hand all the way in the back, but she worked for me. That don't help. Okay. Family Connects is a program that was started to be in hospitals, in the birthing unit, working directly with parents as they're delivering babies, right? So if you're trying to enroll, where are the babies? So one of the things that I did talk to Jennifer Vitus about, she has sent me the data, and I asked, I said, can I share it? They've served over 4,000 families. It's 4,000 babies that were born, right? Could have been twins in some of those, but at the end of the day, they served over 4,000 families. 45% of the population is being reached that are eligible families. It's up from 39%. So they're working it and getting in touch and working with these families. Right now, they're in 11 hospitals. UIC came on board in 2024. And so now there are 11 different hospital birthing centers where they have a program where they're going in, meeting moms, giving them packets of information, making sure that they are getting well baby checks, making sure that that baby is healthy, making sure that mom is healthy. Who should be partnering with them? All of you, exactly. So one of the things I have a meeting where I'm going to be meeting with her to figure out how we can do that. But one thing I am going to first ask her to do in the packets that are going out is to put information in those about early learning. So that when mom goes home and she's unpacking everything and she's looking and saying, oh, this is really, oh, wow. What's early learning? Right? With a QR code and a phone number so that they can get some information about home visiting, about they can get some information about early learning. I got to go back to work. Where do I go? Answering those questions for them. And so we're going to do some of that work, but I'm going to charge all of you. What I'm going to do is give you that link that's right there. It is live. So you'll get this deck, and that is a live link. On there, it will tell you what 11 hospitals they're in. If those hospitals are in your community, you need to be making sure that hospital knows that you're in that community. And that's how you help yourself in making sure you get to these families. Okay? It's a live link. If there's a hospital near you, and we're going to get you in, we're going to make sure that your information is going in and going out. But I also need you to make sure that they know that you're out there and you're serving families. Okay? It's just another way to connect you to more families. And if we come up with any others, we're going to do that one too, because we've got to get enrolled and we're still under enrolled. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So what she said is what she did with her team was she had them go to the high school and partner because they're teen moms, teens who are pregnant, who have children at the high school to make sure that those families can get connected to ADA-S. It's another way. But again, we got to use our feet. We got to go indoors and we got to communicate with people. They're out there. The families are out there. When we look at the data, it's not that the children don't exist. What they're not is enrolled. Okay? And so we've got to gear up and make sure that we're able to do this and get all of the families enrolled in these programs. If they're eligible, they should be in your program. Every one of our children need these services. And I'm not trying to go in a bad place, but before they go away, get them in, justify it. Under enrollment does not justify the need. Please understand that, as I was told this morning. Not in those words, but anyway, it's hard to justify all of the federal dollars, for example, going into Head Start when most of the Head Start programs are under enrolled and understaffed. It's hard to get somebody to go leave that money right there. That's a hard sell. And so before we get to that point where we're fighting that battle, go find these children and families and get them enrolled, please. If there's anything else that we can think about, anybody else I can connect you to, I'm willing to do it. But what we have to do is prove our worth. And that's real. And that does not mean that the state dollar wouldn't be impacted either, because it comes from the federal down to the state. And so everybody just understand, we've got to spend the dollar that you have. You've got to enroll the children that are in community. And we've got to have somebody who goes, all of these programs are full. You can't kick all those babies out. No, you can't. But you can if you sit there and go, these programs have been severely under-enrolled for how long? They've been underspent for how long? I don't think we can justify keeping it. That's not a good federal dollar. So says, anyway, leave that out right now. Okay? But I beg of you, don't sit back thinking that everything's going to be okay if you're not doing your part. Now, I'm going to challenge all of you to get your classrooms enrolled, because if I can't get the numbers up, I can't sustain the grant. There are some grants that have already been cut due to under enrollment. Yours hasn't yet. And I said yet. Okay? But that's not to say that they won't say we're going to pull yours back to the number of children that are currently enrolled and take those dollars back. It is well within their right, and I know Head Start's going to have to make some traumatic decisions here because they want to save the program. And that means anybody who's not doing what they need to do, sorry, we got to do what we got to do, because we're trying to keep the whole, and we are not going to lose the whole because of a part. All right, so I need enrollment, and we are going to be on everybody about getting them in. Yes, Kim.
FSS recruitment guide, which was a training and went out to the folks who attended the training. We're going to do that again And the hope is that you can pick out some ideas from this comprehensive guide as far as ways that you might try to expand the census of the way that you're doing recruitment. The other thing, as far as it's a challenge for you, every agency, like Sarah talked about the hospital program, you should most likely make sure that you have at least a one pager of your service offering for your early childhood education programs. A one pager that's specific to the target audience that you will be recruiting from, which would include your contact information, the QR code, link to your website, hours of availability for people to actually call to see about trying to get more information, and a live person's name if possible, or office or a particular section. Maybe not somebody's name because that gets stale because somebody may leave your organization. But really a direct contact piece to say that if I need help, and then train your staff on the other side to say that if you get a call because somebody says, I saw this flyer, this is what you need to do as your first start treat out and trying to get them connected with your program. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. And I'll go one step further. If you have a one-page guide and you want to send it to us just to get some feedback, we'll just take it and send it back to you, okay?
Thanks, Ken. And to Ken's point, any direction that you're giving, if you're putting a person's name on there, that should be a real person who's gonna answer the phone. People are living in a world of immediate. And if I call and no one answers, am I calling back? No, they're not going to. If I'm a parent and I come to your door and somebody at your desk tells me we're not enrolling, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna try 5 more times? No, I'm gonna find somebody else. And so we live in a world of immediate, and your response needs to be immediate. If you put something out there and someone needs to make sure that they're doing a follow-up, the worst contact in the world is one that nobody responds to. It doesn't help you, and it's not going to help you in this process. All it's going to do is put another message in community about, well, they don't respond. That's not what you want people to hear about your organization. And so make sure people at your desk, people who are open up your door, people who are engaging are actually engaging. If I'm a parent and I come to your door and you're fully enrolled and you can't serve me today, are you going to say, I can't help you? Your job is to engage me. I got to your door because this is where I want to be. Your job is to engage me. Make sure that I understand what my eligibility opportunity is. Make sure that I understand that you've got staff that are going to guide me through this process, that you're going to keep in contact with me. And then as soon as the baby drops, you're going to call me and say, guess what I got for you? You do that enough times for enough parents, and everybody in your community hears this is what you do. You do the opposite, they hear that too. Okay? And so active recruitment, to what Ken is talking about, is active. A recruitment plan is only as good as what the actions that are actually being done. It's not about what's written on the paper. It's just like a strategic plan. Many people do strategic plans and they sit on shelves for years. Then it's time to do another strategic plan, and we're going to go and see, did we achieve anything? Probably not, because you forgot what you were trying to achieve in those 5 years. So if you put a plan together, live that through your staff, have everybody engaged. Everybody at your organization is responsible for recruitment and enrollment. Do they get paid? They do? They get paid? They should get paid for helping, to get paid. They get paid because you're enrolled. They get paid because those classrooms are open. They get paid because you're operating a program. And if it fails because you can't enroll and no one would help, they're part of the problem, not the solution. So everybody needs to be up and out in community and driving people to your door. Literally, not physically. Okay, don't put them in your car. Y'all didn't hear Sarita say that. Sarita didn't say that. Literal, just the word, not the action, okay? But they should be out there making sure people know what happens behind that door over there, that there are children that are growing, developing, learning, and ending up in kindergarten ready because of what you do. Yes, Ken? Exactly. And I know based on the launch of applications, that some of your people at your front desk are not welcoming people. Because then I get the calls and I get the email letting me know that this parent has complained because they went to this organization saying that they wanted to enroll, and the person at the front door said, we're not enrolling. Nothing more, just we're not enrolling. All those parents are not just walking away, they're literally making phone calls, giving your address, and it's getting to me. And I know when it happens, I get in touch, or I have staff get in touch with folks, because that's not what should be happening. No parent should feel that they can't enroll, maybe not today, but that's not a never, right? So engage, engage, engage. Any other ideas before I get off the mic? Question? Yes. What I'm saying is, if you have written into your HR personnel policies that you are formally stating, and it's been approved, that if a staff member, you go through the process, you have put in a recruitment bonus, meaning that, and then if I then have you and you stay with me, and we need them to stay, we really do. You can say retention bonus, but you've got to justify how. It can't just be, we just give money away. You got to have a, why is the retention bonus? How long does a person have to stay to be eligible for this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You have to map that out and write it out, and your staff then have to receive that so that they know what it is, right? So that if somebody gets it, they understand the why. Because if somebody says, and people talk, right? You get somebody $1 more, they tell everybody, why she get the $1 more? Anyway, so if you do a retention bonus, and there's only 3 people who get it because they've been with you for a long time, those who just walked in the door are pissed. Because they didn't know that there was a retention bonus, and they didn't understand the how, the why, and what's written. You have an onus of responsibility when you're doing something like that to put it into the hands of your staff so they can read the paper and understand that's not me today, but if I stay long enough, right? I understand why I didn't get it. Girl, I'm happy for you. I'm getting it next. Okay. But if I hear somebody got something that I didn't get, now they want to fight you over it. And so let's lessen the fight and let's write it all down. Let's make sure we share our personnel policies. And when we put things like that out there, put it in the hands of your staff. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Write it, send it, talk to me. I'm willing to push anything out there and see what comes back. Okay. Oh, now she might want me to go do some work. Did you see it? She said, you got it, Mom. Jocelyn, let's write up a mock and send it out. All right. Okay. We'll send something out. Not, and let me say this, it will not come out of my email box because I get FOIA'd every week. Just saying, somebody will send it to you. Okay. All right. For the sake of time, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Who's next on the thing? All right, Sheree.
Keep getting random emails or text messages from people like, where are you?
He's been on vacation.
So, no, all you gotta do is tell my boss to stop making me work at work. Right? How's everyone doing? This is a full house. This is fantastic. We love to see you. I don't have much, just 2 updates for you. On your screen, you're seeing one of our fantastic new flyers created by our fantastic vendor, Veer Creative, which you'll hear from later today. But we are letting you guys know that the Chicago Early Learning application for the 2025-2026 school year will be opening and launching on April the 8th. So please let families know. The current application for the current program year is up and running on the website. If you need to access the website, you can go to chicagoearlylearning.org or scan the little QR code that's available on your screen. If you need additional information, I'm sorry, I'm breathing hard. He had me running up the stairs. Yeah, I'm telling me. It was really Juana's fault. Anyway. Also, shameless plug, we are planning and preparing for our in-service event in August 2025. How many of you were with us for our last in-service, pre-service? Did you have a good time? I know, right? Because Sheree loves the microphone. So, I mean, I might MC it this year. I don't know. Maybe not. But either way, we'd like for you guys to join us. If you weren't with us last year for our in-service event, we're planning. It says in-service there, but it's really going to be a pre-service. So it's going to be in August. We're thinking the third week of August. We're thinking roughly 19th, 20th, 21st. I didn't put those dates up there because it's tentative. Of course, when I say tentative, a lot of people say, you said it is tentative, okay? And we would love for you guys to join us. I know that you guys are planning your own pre-service events at your own organizations, which is fantastic. We want you to do that, but we'd like it best for it not to conflict. So that's why I'm telling you now, August, third week, DFSS in-service or pre-service event. And those are my only two updates. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, go ahead. Parking for the pre-service? Yes, so we always consider our fantastic guests, as well as our own internal staff when we are planning these type of events. So last year we were at Crown Plaza where we did provide parking, but it was a little parking hiccup because you had to go to this lot, that lot, that lot. Typically we're at McCormick Place in years past where we have ample parking, but it's just a long distance. So this year we're trying to solidify locations that have the best of both worlds, where we have parking as well as, close proximity or not as long of a walk. So that's why everything is tentative right now because we are bouncing around various locations, but we are absolutely trying our best to ensure that parking is included. We'll have additional details once solidified. I saw another hand. Yes. Typically, folks are encouraged to apply as soon as it opens. So those who apply within the first week, 2 weeks, typically get placed or earliest priority for placement. So the application will be open the entire year, the entire time. But if we want expeditious placement, folks are encouraged to apply expeditiously within the first 2 weeks. So typically within the first 2 weeks, if those applications are in there, offers will start going out shortly after that. Yes.
That are already enrolled have to re-enroll.
For clarification, those who are already enrolled have to re-enroll. We are being told, no, they will carry over if they're already enrolled. Look at these experts in the room. I'm looking at various folks, but yeah, if they're staying in your same program, they're already there, their spot has been solidified. If they are enrolling in a new program, yes.
Yes.
Yes. When in doubt, contact the hotline phone number, which is listed there on the plugger. It normally is. Yes, it is. 312-229-1690. It's on the plug. It's kind of faint, but that's the Chicago Early Learning Hotline. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out. I think I saw another hand. Did I? Yes.
Has an accepted offer this year, it is not aging on the program. We're going to try to roll over to next year, but we have to do that before we make placement. So if you have kids that aren't in school yet still, they need to get in there within the next week. Otherwise, if you don't get that information in before we give offers for next year, you'll have to put them in place. Right, because we can't create new returning offers after the application goes live. We can create new returning offers now. So if the child isn't there now, Anyway, in the next week.
So he just said a lot, so I'm gonna sum it up, okay? Get your kids in school, man, period. So in essence, what he's saying is that even though the application launches on the eighth, there's some preliminary work that has to take place on the back end system, which is Schoolment, to ensure that the application is successful, right? We're trying to ensure that children aren't held up. We're trying to ensure that these enrollments actually go through. So you have to do your part, which is ensuring that you get those children into Schoolment. Craig suggests that you need to get them in within the next week. Yeah. I mean, the sooner the better. Don't wait till April 7th. Like, let me get these kids in when the application launches tomorrow. That don't work. Okay? Let us, yes. Yes, for home visiting, I know, and there are other, programs that continuously enroll, and the application will continuously be open, yes. But we're just trying our best to help prepare you guys to avoid any hiccups by doing your part. So if you are constantly enrolling, we want that. Enrollment never stops. But we also know that there is a preliminary step when it comes to enrollment, which is your Schoolment. Right? If you have any questions, clearly, Craig Zemke, our Assistant Director over here of Planning and Communication, is our advocate, and he does a lot of things. I was trying to see which word I wanted to use, but he is well versed, so he can support as best as he can, and what he doesn't know, he will let you know what he doesn't know, and we will find the help that's needed. Are there any other questions? Program admin. Oh, that's Zemke? Oh, that's you. Thank you, everyone.
I didn't even know I had a slide. Cool. So. It is the time of year when we start throwing together and finalizing the Head Start program information report. Yes, already, he's gonna be April very soon. So we, due to the slow processes and challenges of rolling out our new information system, we are still compiling information from shared spreadsheets. We broke down the entire PIR document into data points and made that into the form you can fill out and share with everybody at the beginning of the year. So for the most part, it needs to be done now. So I want to make everyone I'm going to go over this tomorrow. I'm doing a webinar. The information should have gone out already. What we're going to go over is the fact that a lot of information that we wanted to be done by now is not completed. If you look in those things, you will see there is a tab that is in red and it says in very bold letters, important. And on that tab, there are due dates, which have, for the most part, passed. So we need them to be done very soon. There are obviously some exceptions that someone is going to point out, like there's also a section for a lot of indicators. It says at enrollment, which obviously, if they've been enrolled for months now, should all be completed. And then the other section says at the end of the program year. So yes, the PIR is due on August 31st. No, the end of the program year does not mean August 30th. I gotta submit 50 of these things. I can't do them all in a day. That is not your deadline. It is mine. Yours are in the document, okay? And when we talk about the end of the program year, we were really talking about June, the end of the school year. So everything except new kids who enroll after that point should be in there and done at that point. And I should not be following up in late August with anybody trying to get you to put in input data that was due in December. So gonna go over this. We need to get it done. We have a lot to do this summer. We have rollover, we have in-service. We cannot be pulling together enrollment information on children who've been there since September. It's gotta be done. Some of you guys know I won't, sometimes I like to get up here and name and shame. I won't name anyone now. But there are a couple agencies that keep asking, why won't he approve any of our over income children? And the answer is, you have not identified how the children who are enrolled are eligible, so I do not know whether you are at 10% or not. And I will not approve anything until every single child on that spreadsheet has an eligibility status. I'll go into more detail tomorrow. I don't want to stand up here and just yell at people. I got here late because I was on the long call, and by the time I got here, there were no cups left, so I got a coffee. Because of that, I'm gonna this year. Oh, no, I'm not. The self-assessment is also up here. And the people who signed up and expected it to start yesterday may have noticed it did not. That's because we didn't get information out to everybody who volunteered at the last minute. And we do want to have an inclusive committee that involves many different kinds of stakeholders so we can get real feedback. So that has been rescheduled for April 2nd at 10 o'clock. The first one is at online. It's more of an organizational thing. We'll go over what the process is going to be like and what everybody's going to be doing. And then the next two sessions will be here, but I think downstairs here, but either way, here, maybe here.
No, it's here.
Here in this room? Okay, right here. Awesome. So, and we'll get that information out to you shortly.
Jacinta Pessimist, we will be calling you, asking for self-assessment from last year and this year.
And this year.
For all our ECBG agencies who are underutilized, guess what? I met with half, I got plenty more to go. I am begging you. Spend that money. Let's look at salary fringe. Any vacancies, move that money around. And I'm doing this out loud right now, because I'm just working with ECBG state. But guess what, federal? I'm coming to you all next. And don't 50% is in April. And I know y'all don't want to be like, we on this call only 10 minutes, just behind the bag, I spend some money. Yeah, only 10 minutes, just the bag, spend that money. All right? All right? All right.
Who's next?
Morning, everyone. I'm Sharon Davis, Supervisor of Accounting at DFSS Children's Services Finance. So I just come to present the expenditure and finance portion. So for FY24 closeout, I'm sorry, I'm talking too close to the mic. Can you all hear me now? Is this okay? So FY24 is in closeout right now. And so for the federal program, Head Start Early, Head Start CCP and expansion, those are at 94%, 82%, 71%, and 81% all, 94%, 82%, 71%, and 81% expenditures. So this is in closeout as of right now. All final vouchers have been submitted, and the next program that we've already started December 1st is FY 25. So the FY 25 program starting December 1st, we're already 3.5 months in. So we're at 12% Head Start expenditure, 10% early Head Start expenditure, 8% CCP expenditure, and 11% expansion expenditure. At this point, we want to encourage you to get your expenditures up. We do realize that getting the budgets approved on time was a challenge, and also getting your invoices in and getting them approved is also a challenge. So we do understand the lagging at this point. So ordinarily would expect you to be around 20% at this time for your expenditures. And so FY 25 state programs, ECBG is at 46% and CCAP is at 44%. At this point, they should be a little higher. These programs end June 30th, so they should be a little over 50% spent at this time. And a few notes for Head Start program FY 24. As I said, the closeout is in progress, and any remaining unencumbered funds are being deobligated right now. FY 25, your invoices through February 28th should have been submitted at this point. You should be working on your February invoices if you haven't already. And accruals have been recorded for any December 2024 expenditures that missed the January 31st deadline. All applicable in-kind reports are due monthly on the 10th of every month. We are currently expending delays for invoice approvals due to the peak season, as our Deputy Commissioner has already stated. This peak season is a little bit more slowed than our summer peak season due to all programs having to report year-end expenditures for December 31st. FY 25 childcare. Please submit your attendance exemptions requests within 5 days of the exemption date. Please submit your attendance exemption request within 5 days of the exemption date. Please submit the March 2025 billing and attendance exemption request by Monday, April 7th. Please submit the revised January and February 2025 billing by Tuesday, April 15th. Please enter your March 2025 attendance and CSD cares by Tuesday, April 1st. For the PFA PI program for FY 25, also your invoices through 2/28 should have been submitted by this time. And as well, we're experiencing invoice delays. Your final budget revision for PFA PI is going to be May 15th. And your final invoice submission for the entire program is going to be July 18th. We're trying to get all of that information out monthly to you so that you can be reminded going forward. And the last bit, so for ICE supplier, the training schedule is pending. Please continue to check the iSupplier website at the bottom when the training dates will be uploaded. We expect those to be uploaded soon. And also for your insurance, a lot of time your insurance may be the reason why your invoices may be held. You want to check mycoy.com for your insurance to make sure it's up to date. And you also want to check an iSupplier and make sure that your insurance is updated as well. Sometimes that may be the main holdup for the invoices. So your invoices may be approved, but because they're not paid out because the system has a default where it recognizes that the insurance is not up to date. And also an iSupplier, you want to make sure that you keep all of your contacts up to date. The reason why we ask you to do that, we keep a manual record of your contacts. So we try to reach out to you as often as possible to make sure that you have your contacts updated with us in-house, but also online. That is the only way for the comptroller's office to be able to reach you if they need to have a question or if they have issues that you may be missing documentation. So if the comptroller's office is trying to reach you, they're depending on the information in iSupplier to be updated. Let's see. And also per your contract requirements, invoices should be submitted at a minimum monthly. And make sure you're reviewing iSupplier to make sure that there are no deletions or debit memos or rejections. If you're experiencing any issues with your invoices, you can keep up to date in iSupplier and just reach out to us if you have any questions at all. And so again, we want to welcome to our team, our newest member, Zachary Karoko, who is the supervisor of Children's Services Programs over CCAP, and as well as on my team, Cassandra Molina is our newest accountant. She'll be over the PI and PFA programs. So she's getting acclimated with that program. And so your contacts for the Head Start, Early Head Start, CCP and expansion, as well as corporate, will continue to be Laverne Coleman, as well as Teresa Lopez. Child care, Selena Ruan, and PFA. You can also reach out to Laverne Coleman, Teresa Lopez as well. Thank you so much. Anybody have any questions? Yes. Yes, actually, I'm not sure if it's going to continue to be manual throughout the rest of the program year, but please plan just in case. The CARES team is working on some redesign and updates at the moment. So we do apologize for the inconvenience with the system. So in the meantime, if you could continue your manual billing, that is our workaround until we can get the system to recognize all of the different components just to make sure that billing is accurate. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Jackie Marshall, Director of Operations at Vera Creative. Sheree shared a little bit about us earlier, but we do all of the marketing and messaging for Chicago Early Learning. Custom materials, I know that I mentioned this last time. I'm just here to give 2 quick updates. We have received 62 sites that have signed up for custom materials, which means that we're missing a little over 20 of you all to sign up. We would love to get everyone at one time. That way you're not waiting an additional month or 2 for materials, because they do take quite a while to get to you. So if you have not signed up, Estrella, if you can wave your hand in the back, but you can come by us right there in the corner and we'll sign you up today. Or if you just want to confirm that you did sign up, we'll also confirm that for you too. And just as a reminder, this is what it looks like. Sheree shared over the general flyer, which has all logos, all information. But when you order custom materials, it has your agency name, your agency phone number, and only DFSS logo. Lastly, Month of the Young Child. Also mentioned this at the last EDPD, but we have gotten some really great feedback from community leaders, aldermen, senators, and they're excited to go into the sites and read. So if you signed up to be a part of the Month of the Young Child, if you can also see us in the back, we haven't heard from a few of you all. And as soon as we book the senators or the aldermen, they want confirmation right then and there. They want all the information the minute that we talk to them. So if we haven't heard from you all, then we're unable to book it with the senator or with the alderman, and then it just becomes messy. So if you have signed up to be a part, but you haven't heard from us, or you're just interested in getting more information, if you can see us in the back, and we can ensure that either a community leader or someone comes to your site for the month of April. We will be doing it all 4 or 5 weeks. I don't know how many weeks are in April. But we will be doing it every single week. So we mainly need to know what days and times are best for you. That way we can plug in someone to come and read. That's all I got.
All right, an honor to be in this room full of passionate professionals, a lot of colleagues that I've worked with in the past, and a lot of new folks as well. Wanted to introduce myself. I'm Ariel Chaydez. If you can roll your R's, Ariel. Chaydez works with as well. I work at Start Early. I'm a senior program manager within our professional learning network, but also the PET state leader for Illinois. You know, I don't know if many of you know, but the PAT state office for Illinois lives inside of Start Early. And so we support a lot of the program work and a lot of the training for parents as teachers through Start Early. I'm here with my colleague, Siobhan Townsend King as well. And we're going to be speaking about a couple of projects and initiatives that we're starting and continuing this year. One is specific to community of practice groups, specifically for home visiting supervisors and leaders. So that's something that we will be beginning. You go one more forward. There we go. Oop, one more.
Goodness,
Sorry,
sorry,
that's good.
it's crazy.
All right, John. Which is much needed. As we know, home visiting programming is a little bit unique. There's a lot of challenges that come with home visiting and managing and administrating home visiting programs. A lot of success, resiliency in that work as well. And we want to lean in that. And Start Early, we've had over 40 years of experience in supporting and working along home visiting programs in Chicago and outside across the state as well. And then I have some information to share about parents as teachers training, which impacts both home visiting program and staff, but also there's a lot of center-based family support specialists who are using PAT as a curriculum. So I'll share a little bit more content around that as well, but I'll pass it on to my colleague to talk about the COPs.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Siobhan Townsend King. It's nice to see, and as Ariel mentioned, be in the room with you all. I feel like it's been years since I've actually seen many of you all in person, and it's really nice to be here with you all. So I am Siobhan Townsend King. I also work at Start Early. I am the assistant program manager for our family engagement team, and I'll be doing a lot of the work around the community of practice groups that I'll be sharing a little bit more about. And so what is a community of practice group? So a community of practice group is a group geared towards the home visiting leadership staff to really support them in the work that they are already doing. There's some key words. I won't read the whole entire screen, but just to think about certain words that come together. So thinking about opportunities of a safe and brave space where the leadership staff can come together to really think about their roles, responsibilities, as well as their goals. Also to provide them a space to really enhance, change, and really improve the quality of their program as they're supporting those home visiting staff and children and families. We're going to really be thinking about and engaging in conversations, again, to really, I'm sorry, I can go back, to really support that work, but also having opportunities, again, to glean from each other's experiences. It's a partnership where everyone brings their shared experiences, their knowledge, and their understanding to really support and think about that work, to really co-construct new strategies, and as I heard earlier in the room, there's a lot of things that's going on and happening, and this will be an opportunity for those home visiting staff or leadership staff to have a space where they can come together, reflect, and really think about the work that they are currently doing. And so again, just really offering support and resources, again, specifically to those home leadership staff in efforts to really support them with the work that they're currently doing. So these are some of the objectives that we really want to meet in these community of practices. So we really want to cultivate a space for shared ideas, experiences, and what are they doing to support that home visiting programs. We really think about and reflect on the work. So it provides an opportunity to take a step back, think about and reflect on what is really working, what have been some lesson learned, and what can be some things that we can do differently to support that work. It's also an opportunity, again, to get together, to network, share resources, tools, and information. And I heard a lot about that earlier today. You all were really thoughtful in thinking about strategies to really support, especially if you're thinking about spending down and things of that. And so, again, these will be opportunities that we can share together during our time. We're also going to think about deepening our best practices, our competency-based framework to really support the staff that's supporting the children and the families. And then again, really thinking about those self-reflection practices to really make and move change. And then also it's an opportunity for interdisciplinary work to come together, to collaborate, as well as to partnership. And why? Why would one want to participate in a community of practice group? And these are some rationale. Research lets us know that experiences alone don't change behavior, but having those opportunities to reflect on those experiences is what changed behavior. And so we offer, strategies again to engage in those reflective practices to support that work, connect with other leaders within, the city of Chicago to think about that work, engage in dialogue, talk about your successes. I don't think a lot of times we get enough to share what you're really doing well and highlight those experiences, but also talk about challenges as well as lessons learned. Stimulating, again, authentic conversations. We encourage others to come in as their authentic self, to be themselves, to have a space to really share, really what's on their mind, to be able to pull up under the rug, and really get into the meat and the things of what is going on. And then also to think about those collaborative processes that we want to support. These are some sample topics that we have used or discussed in our community of practices, but I heard a topic today, maybe recruitment of families, recruitment of staff. So again, these are some topics, but again, it's led by the group in regards to what are some things that they want to think about, explore, go deeper on, or hear about what's going on in the field. So reflective supervision, I heard someone talk about well care and self-care, team dynamics, thinking about monitoring. Someone is coming out in summer, so this would be a nice opportunity also to have those conversations, maintaining professional boundaries, looking at your systems and your policies, really thinking about, not just having it on a shelf, but what are some things that we're actually implementing and doing, thinking about trauma-informed practices. And I'm also a parents and teachers trainer, where I've probably seen many of you all as well. So we'll be thinking about how we can incorporate that parents and teachers resources and information to support the work that you are currently doing. So what is the structure of the community of practices? So we are offering them 4 times this fiscal or this calendar year. We are asking that this could be committed participation and engagement. We really spend time to form and develop these groups. And so we really encourage those who attend to really have the opportunities to come together to share so that they can think about those experiences. We're trying to have a small cohort, so between 20 and 25, so that everyone has an opportunity again to share those experiences and lessons learned. And we're thinking about having at least 90 minutes during our time. We're thinking about either having it maybe a hybrid approach, maybe having some virtual, but then also we do know the value of really being together and that connectiveness. I won't go into detail with the logic model, but just really thinking about all of the inputs that we need to have in order to get to more of those long-term goals. And so from the beginning, this is a collaboration between DFSS, Start Early, the home visiting leadership staff to really think about the work, to get their input, to get their partnership, to support that work that we're doing. We're aiming for these community of practice groups to really aid in learning, aid in reflection, support social interactions, knowledge sharing, knowledge creation, and identity building for these particular community of practice groups. Some guiding principles, we're going to think about the adult learning principles, looking at our relationship-based competencies, best practices, and then reflective practices to really support the work moving forward. Activities, again, is to engage in these community of practice groups, opportunities for small group conversations, opportunities to really think about and highlight what's working at your agencies and maybe some things that may not be working. And then some of the long-term, what we all want to get to is really to increase and enhance that parent-child relationship, increasing the social emotional development of children, building stronger community, as well as having resources to really support that work, to think about that whole holistic approach as we do the work. And then next slide. So to get us started, again, we really want to have a survey go out to the home visiting leadership staff to get their input in regards to what topics they're interested in, where might we have these community of practice groups, what time of day works best for folks, and what days of the week that works best for folks. So if you can share this with your teams or your leadership team to complete the survey, we're hoping if we can get the information in by March 31st, the end of this month, so that we can collect and look at the data. And then based on that, we're hoping to launch these community of practices beginning April. And so again, if monitoring is one, I know that's coming out in September 2025. This is something that could be most definitely a first topic of interest. And then if you have any additional questions of who should be invited to these groups, reach out to Catherine Soto for more additional information. But I'm excited to get these started, excited to be in person with many of all, and I look forward to our collaborations. And I'll turn it back over to Ariel to talk a little bit more about parents as teachers registration.
So in regards to parents as teachers, there's 3 trainings that some of your staff have participated in or yourselves, or if you have new staff, can participate as well. The first one is the virtual foundational training that is more specific to home visiting and home visiting supervisors. Folks will attend 2 weeks, around 6 modules, 6 live sessions. And through those live sessions, they'll learn about the parents of teachers approach to engaging families, but also practice on the parents of teachers curriculum. And after the training, folks would have access to the PAT curriculum for a year, and then they would have to renew that subscription each year afterwards. But for center-based family engagement staff, if you have folks who are doing the work in centers, there is a Foundations for Center-Based Family Engagement PAT training as well. It's not organized exactly like the home visiting training is because the work is a little bit different, but the principles remain the same. It's about family engagement. This is 4 sessions, 4 live facility sessions, and 4 asynchronous modules as well. But afterwards, folks would also have access to the parents as teachers 0 to 3 curriculum. The next training is virtual foundational 2. This is meant for folks who are working with families who have children aged from the age 3 through 6. And so again, this is a week-long training, 4 sessions. There is a prerequisite. Your staff would have to have attended foundational or CFE training, but once they do that, they can then register for this foundational 2 training. And there's a separate curriculum for foundational 2 that's geared for families who have children 3 through kindergarten, 3 through 6 as well. If you want to see what trainings are coming up, in our next slide, we'll have a list. That's our www.patillinois.org is our state office website. You can go in there and you can take a look and see what trainings are coming up. So I highly encourage you all to kind of to plan ahead and see what's going on there. And if you are interested in training, we do have a process. So the next slide will have information on what are the steps to actually register for PAT training. So let's go one slide over. Ooh. Oh, we don't have it. Oh, sorry. Well, it all boils down to Catherine Soto as well. So if you have questions about PAT training and you need staff to be attended, we have slots that we have partnered with DFSS to provide. So reach out to Catherine Soto, let her know who needs PAT training, and then she would work with us to get your staff approved for that. So that would be kind of the process. There's another step of having to create a PAT profile on the parentsasteachers.org website, but we can kind of share that information as well. So that is your go-to. We highly value the partnership we have with Therathel, with Sheree, with Catherine, other DFSS staff, and with all of you. Please, you'll have our contact information in the slides. Do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And if you have any questions now, we'll also be willing to take them. Yeah. All right. Good question. So Parents as Teachers National has a conference every year, usually in the fall, this time in October. They usually pick some fabulous places to go. So last year we were in San Diego. This year in October, the Parents as Teachers National Conference will be in Puerto Rico, in San Juan. So I don't know if I'll be at the actual conference, but no. Or I don't know if the time to submit proposals to present is over, but you might want to write a proposal and then funding. You can accept it. But thank you for asking. Any other questions? All right, well, we'll be here till the end. So if you do have any questions, feel free to find Siobhan or I, and we'll be more than happy to chat a little bit more. Thank you all.
Thank you. I know y'all love my answer, didn't you? Y'all not getting me in trouble. But that's not to say that out of your own personal pockets that you can't get yourself to sign on for a beautiful conference on your own. Anyway. And then take me with you. Any other questions from anyone? I know this has been a lot that we've thrown at you today, but we felt every one of the topics was something that you needed. So any questions from anybody? Yes, ma'am. Someone from Craig's team will be contacting those who signed up for the self-assessment committee. Craig, do you know when we're going to be communicating with people? Oh, I'm sorry, Angel. What did you say? Wednesday of next week. Give us till Wednesday of next week. They said thank you. Any other questions? Either you're tired or we answered all your questions. Well, I want to thank all of you for spending time. I know this was a lot. Again, take care of yourselves. I know there's a lot going on, swirling around you every day. Our world is in a state that in my 69 years, I've never seen. And so it's hard. I had a 9-year-old who broke down because he said, "What does this mean for me?" It was the worst moment of my life as a grandmother because I couldn't answer him. And so what we try to do to the children is make sure that they understand that that's our job. Let us wear that. Let them not wear it, but understand that they're hearing it and it's reeling in their head because they don't understand. The same child is in a very diverse school and he has a friend that he hasn't seen in 3 months and he doesn't understand why. And that's a hard one, but mom decided immediately she needed to do what she needed to do. And children are breaking down across our nation because they don't understand, where's my friend? What happened? Why are they not here? Why can they not be here? Our children don't understand that. Parents are struggling because they want to bring their children to your programs, but they're terrified to come out of their doors. We can't even understand sometimes what the word deportation means anymore. And it's hard to explain who will be or who won't be. And so your parents are struggling. They need to know their rights. We gave information, make sure people understand that. For you, take care of yourself. You can't be there for others if you're not there for yourself. Just like on an airplane, if you don't put that air mask on first and something happens, everybody around you is probably going to perish because you need to be there to take care of them. We need you. DFSS needs everybody in this room in order for us to make it through this. And we will make it through this together, but we cannot make it through it alone. So we need you. When we're asking you and we're begging you, like she's at begging you to spend your money, I wish I could spend it for you because I'd be in Puerto Rico. Seriously. We can't spend it for you, or I would. The dollars are in your budgets, and I need you to go back and impress upon your folks, if they're not here, who's on that side of this, that work at your organization, spend your money. The worst thing we can do, you saw the slide, and I'd have her put it back up, but you already saw where our Head Start dollars were when they ended, right? We ended a fiscal year with underspend on a federal dollar in this environment. 94% on Head Start. You know, some people say, well, it's not 10%, that's good. I don't know about Elon Musk, but anyway, EHS, 82%. 71% on CCP, which was expected, and I say it was expected because we have all the slots are not allocated. I can justify that one. Expansion, 81%. It's hard for me, which I'm trying to explain that to leaders who have to explain that in case somebody comes out and says something, why you couldn't spend your money. Yes, we talk about under enrollment. Yes, we talk about understaffing, but you could do budget revisions. You can move money. You can do other things. What Angel's going to be doing, she's already doing it with state. Yes, she's going to be doing it with federal. She's going to be meeting with you and talking about, if you're understaffed, what else could you have done with that money? Move it. Don't let it sit there. We can't do this again. If we make it through this next fiscal year and it looks like this, we have given them every justification to take Head Start away. If they're not going to use the money, I have to remember I'm still at work, they will take it away. And it's not going to go into a different pot for children and families. It's not what's going to happen with the dollars. Don't sit back and let the programs that we value and the work that we know is what's needed for our children and families go away because we did not efficiently and effectively use our dollars. That should not be the reason. But we're giving them that. I've been begging and begging and begging. Of course, I did not know what was going to happen in 2025, but I've been begging people to spend your dollars. Let me say this. Last thing, and you guys can stir over, but take this message back to your folks. When I came on board in 2017, my first meeting with Office of Head Start was a meeting on our early Head Start grant that was underspent. She looked at me and she said, you know, they want to take part of this away. And I'm like, I just got here. Nice to meet you. What are you saying? She says, well, I've been talking to them and nobody's giving me a plan. I said, I'll be back with a plan. I went back to the office, told my staff, come in this room, get on the phone with everybody who is under enrolled. And if you are not enrolled and you got 8 slots, if you can't give me 8 real babies, you don't have your 8 slots. If you got a whole classroom that's under enrolled and you don't have a wait list, and a wait list for me is a real file with an eligible child that you can put in that room tomorrow. If you don't have that, I'm taking your slots. I had to do it then, and I'm saying it to you today. I'm there now. I'm gonna be doing something that I don't like doing because I know you need every dollar. But if you are not using it, I'm not going to lose this grant because some people just didn't use it. I'm not. I will fight it to the finish. And I will work with you. I'll do whatever I can, but we will be on the phone saying, do you have real babies? If you don't, I got somebody over here who got babies. And we're gonna take yours and I'm gonna call you and say, you know, those 8, you're getting a contract. Or I'm increasing your contract. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to move it because I'm not gonna lose it. I'm just not. Now, if they take it for some other reason, I don't have any control over that. But I am not gonna sit back and have another year like this. I'm just not gonna do it, even on the federal grant. I'm not doing it, people. I'm giving you options to go get yourself out there and start enrolling, finding some new families, do what you gotta do. Yesterday, I looked at the enrollment. Head Start was at 91%. OHS wants 97%. I'm 6 points off. Where the baby's at? Somebody might have some some Head Start children that they want to serve, but they only funded for X, but they could serve X more. They're gonna be serving X more. Early Head Start, under enrolled, budget, underspent. I'm going to do what I have to do to manage and serve the greater good, and that's keeping the grant. I know some of the conversations are going to be hard, and that's where they're going to be engaged with me, but I got to do what I got to do. On the state side, this has been a battle and a battle and a battle. You saw May 15th, last budget revision. That said last budget revision. That didn't say you can't do a budget revision today. If you need to go do a budget revision to move your dollars into a line that you know you're going to expend. Don't let it sit there. Just because we talk about Head Start, the state ECBG comes from where? From the Fed to the state. Don't get lost on that. Don't get lost on that. How many of you have 5 other grant funds other than the 2 we're talking about? So how are you gonna sustain your house? That's what I'm worried about. That's what's keeping me up at night. That's what's graying my hair faster than ever before. Lord have mercy. I'm gonna do what I'm just gonna cut it off, girl. I'm telling you, I'm stop fighting it. I ain't gonna keep fighting it anymore. I'm done. Because I worry about what is and can be. So the only thing I can do is do the one thing with paper and pen, just sit at my desk with my staff and on a call with all of you and have the harsh conversations. But if the harsh conversation saves this, then you'll still be here. So accept the call, understand the rationale and the reason for it, and let's work together on this. This is about the greater good. Does everybody understand that? All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.